Next up, we got Jari Bradley. Jari Bradley is a black genderqueer poet and proud San Francisco native. They can always fuck with the great burrito and Hennessy. Jari is only funny when they're not trying. They spent time looking up other speakeasy intros into the night before to be funny and quirky for their own. Errors of my own. But all they could come up with was R.I.P. to the Mac Dre.
What's up with everybody? How y'all doing?
Good.
It's really good to see y'all. This reading is special. I really appreciate reading with these beautiful people. They bring me so much joy. So this is a good one. I printed out like hella poems, so I'm gonna just see what happens. I don't know, 8 minutes, I don't know. Okay. Disorder. A forbidden plumage, a host of androgens uncoiled in my blood. My uterus is a sterile field, a strange inheritance burgeoned from my chin. Hirsuism met with a Blue Ridge Gillette's uninformed strokes, the hair curling back on themselves, a growing irritant in the skin. Like any wild animal, a beard should be in tune with its environment. Be sure to train the hairs toward a downward movement, wash regularly until this becomes second nature, cleanse, condition, moisturize, repair, bring the beard to heal. A tamed wildness of its own making, half man, half woman, or a crosshair of anatomical difference, hyperandrogenism. I know the kind of disgust I am or am perceived to be, but here, in this place, I learned to care for it. Thick tendrils softened by Cantu, impressed with such flaw, such gorgeous monstrosity. Flower of the field. I did not want to be a girl. Girl was always a trapdoor or a creeping hand. A boy once called my body a sad work as I raised my head from between his knees. I said nothing. Instead, I tried to crawl inside the body of the boy, pulling my tongue across the plane of his taste. I came out a mouthful of soiled flowers crushed under his heel. Imagine the child in bloom, how easy she was to bow, like ripping a handful of flowers up from their roots. I let the hair grow wild now, gripping the tuft of it from my chin between my fingers. The harder I become to explain, the safer I am. Dysphoria. I say boy, not sure if I mean myself or an undoing, a slippage of sex, but always meaning a tender violence or child's play, a way of becoming. I spell B-O-I and mean a small god of making, an appraisal of my bad shape, its favor of the blood that does and does not come. Dysphoria is what it is called when I say I don't care for my breasts, or is what I mean by they get in the way. I say man and mean hunger or twin tongue, a kin taste for cruelty. Stalled at the sight of the first wound, I say heal and mean to keep the dogged fear at bay as its hands tear into my hefty frame, persistent until I feel a pit opening inside me. I say girl and mean Lord. Have mercy on those days where I didn't deserve any of it. Have mercy on how weak I believed I was. DNA. Use a bitch. Your hormones probably switch inside your DNA. Kendrick Lamar. Disgrace is a double helix shaped in my likeness. A tender failure or error signaled through my blood. I don't have an answer for the switch that altered the bitch in me, the four-legged beast no one could predict. Devante raises a Cheeto-coated finger to the thin black ribbons on my cheeks and says, "You should have been born a boy." I wish this was his way of saying he loves me. I scavenged that bit of it from a lack so dark it scratches at my chest. The moon is a blood orange above my window. I take the omen for what it is, howl my name, and dare to call myself something God blessed. Revelation in the form of hormonal imbalance, my arid body pulsing, a strange grace beneath my flesh, a tender failure inside my DNA. Monstrous intimacy. When you said I was born a ruin, I wondered how you knew. There was always something dying inside me. I was fed a spoiled milk, the red froth fresh in my mouth from the kitchen knife Mama used to carve into my 4-year-old face. Tell me what you know of surviving that kind of rot, the kind that sets in the bones, urging you to tear into your own flesh. A decomposition set at the first betrayal, mine, the host body to scavengers so familiar, I call them blood. Each of those tiny deaths only brought me closer to this life, my birth only being a ruin to the things that cannot succeed in killing me. What a monstrous intimacy. Love deaded my lips so early then, surviving the pangs of each touch of violence that bled me dry. I'm a ruin birthed from other ruins. Their bare bodies laying against one another in the attempt to bury the rot they could no longer hold nameless. You say it. And I know myself is what survives your hunger, with little life in me snagged between your teeth. She wished she was a nigga. It is easier for people to think I wanted a dick swinging between my legs. It makes more sense that way instead of the facial hair that came in at the same time the periods did. I taught myself what most prepubescent sons teach. I taught myself what most men teach their prepubescent sons, how to shave against the grain. I spare most the memory of the doctor who insisted that carrying the weight of myself times myself would surely kill me. The boy cousin I grew up with settled on girls big and black like me for a hot meal and shelter, somewhere to lay his head when no one else would be bothered. And I guess that's the crux of love, how to love the oddity of yourself into shelter when no one else will be bothered. Somehow people believe I chose this body, this chaotic chemistry. They are only half right. I bet she wished she was a nigga is a relic of what the world does to what it cannot explain. And what exactly is a nigga or a woman anyway, if not something or someone that has survived? Got like 2 more. Poem for a black boy. Tell me more about the black boy you didn't give a shit about until he died. Until the promise of a bullet remanded his body back to the earth. And I'll give you the names of each of my boy cousins. The blood behind their names still fresh. No one chants the name of a black boy until he is a soiled hymn. Tell me, have you ever tried to love what has yet to be spilled? What sometimes has done the spilling? The boy tells me all girls wear bras. My small mound showing through the FUBU sweatshirt I stole from Cousin Rob. I cover his mouth with mine until there is no further question of what parts of my body do and don't belong. I cannot recall his name now. Only the secret our mouths kept in that dark. I cannot tell you what happened to that curious boy or my curiosity in boys, only that when we kissed, I learned the name of the boy I always was, a boy with chin, hair, and heavy breasts, now dreaming of all the boys I grew up with. All those names I'll never get back. Fresh cut. He never uses pronouns. I'm just another head in his hands. Parts of myself spill over as I squeeze into his barber chair, irregular, the blood that finally came fresh between my heavy legs. He always has to show me something about a black man on YouTube. I watch this time as the man exits his vehicle on the side of a busy highway, broadcasting the dent in his SUV. See, that's the problem with black women. They talk. This is why nobody likes these black whores. I don't like black bitches anyway. The cutting starts then, and I am still in his chair, reminded of why I remain silent about the tenderness in my breasts, the red pulp that escapes me and glosses the tips of my fingers in the blood-red shell that doctors forewarned at 15 may never hold any of my children. When he asks to touch up the beard coiled tight beneath my chin, I picture my aunties and the cysts that grow on top of their ovaries, how they always hid their razors from me while they fought to raise my cousins, their sons, who grew into men that cursed black women just like them. My barber tells me about his trifling mother, how he can't stand black bitches either, and I become a tattered red flag or a ravaged river of backed up blood running without cease. I am not the woman neither he nor I expect. I am not the man neither he nor the other men in the barbershop are bound to respect. I pay him for the lines drawn in my head, check for any leak in the seat that would give me away. I'm sure he knows exactly what I am, makes it a point to remind me what a real man is capable of as he cuts into my scalp anyway, looking for a reason.